Assalamu alaikum students. How are you? I'm back with Learn English with Usama Tahir. I hope you guys miss me. Okay, so anyone who hasn't subscribed my channel yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you will be informed when my new video will be uploaded. So stay tuned and keep learning. Okay, today we are going to find out few things which are very interesting and you are going to love them. So let's just find out what is new English. First of all, you need to understand that there are different new and new varieties of English that has come to existence. So we are going to learn what is new English, what is post-colonial English, how English became a second language in subcontinent, how it was originated and how it was started there. And next one is how English was localized in subcontinent, how it became or how it took the local shades of their languages into that English language. How British English became the language of subcontinent. After the independence in Pakistan and India, we have English as a official language and we learn it as the second language. Why it is so much important here in Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bangladesh? Why it is so much important in these countries, and what is the role of English in these countries, and how it acquired by English, how it was acquired by English. So we are going to find these questions, and the answer of all these questions are, you know, hidden in dynamic model. What is dynamic model? Every question that I have raised here will be answered in this model. Dynamic model was given by Schneider in 2003 and it was updated in 2007. And what was this model all about? This model was specifically related to non-native new varieties of English. First of all, you need to understand how English came or how English became the non-native or how they acquired the non-native speakers. First of all, the Britishers, they were the colonizers, you know from the history. They came to India, they came to subcontinent by as an East India Company, and they settled there and they initiated using English there. They became the rulers, they got the power, and they introduced English language in India, in East India or in subcontinent. So this model will typically revolves around the non-native and new varieties of English. So first question has been answered, that what are the new varieties of English. So English they started and they initiated after the settlement is new English, is the new variety, new variety, because language changes, as we have already discussed how it changes with the new structures, with new lexical choices, with pronunciation patterns, with intonation. So because the people were there, their English wasn't their native language, it wasn't their mother tongue, so they used it as their second language. They learned it, and the way of using language by them was very different, and the variety spoken by them was called new Englishes or was called new English. Okay, so this model will typically discusses the new Englishes or the new varieties, about how they started and why they started and the whole procedure of it. Reflects belongingness to English. So English is not a language anymore, it's a skill now. It's a global language, it's an international language. If you want to be successful in the world, or if you want to communicate freely, you need to understand the importance of English. English is not a language of one country, it's not a language of two countries, it's like a language of the whole world. Wherever you go, you need to learn it. So English spoken in all of these countries or places will not be the same. The speakers would not be the same. There would be native speakers, there would be different ethnic groups, there would be non-native speakers, there would be fluent speakers, and there would be different dialects, there would be different varieties. And in this model, we will typically focus on the new varieties and the dialects that are emerging in young nations, in newly independent nations. I mean, like 100 years or less than 100 years. Okay, this model consists of four conditions and five stages. Okay, this model is all about four conditions and five stages. Five stages of language, and I mean English language or any language that started from the settlers, from the colonizers, and four conditions that affects the importance or that affects the overall health or the situation of that language. Okay, first of all, conditions. Okay, the political history of a country reflected in the identity rewriting of the language by group, which in return determine, I will explain it later, determine after reading it, socio-linguistic conditions of a language contact, linguistic usage and language attitude, and these affect the linguistic development and structural changes in the varieties evolving. Okay, these are very tough lines, I'll explain. Okay, first of all, the political condition of a country reflects the identity rewriting of the language. Okay, what is identity rewriting? Then how much you respect the language, how you're writing the identity of the language, how you perceive the language overall. For example, the identity of the English language is privileged. It is respected. If you speak English, people understand, they get impressed by you. Why? If you speak Punjabi, you will be judged. I mean, in educated or elite class. Why it happens? Because political histories. Okay, English was politically strong, right? The Britishers were there. It was East India Company, and they became the rulers. So political history influenced the identity rewriting of the language. What is identity rewriting? How you identify yourself with the language, or how the language is identified. Okay, next one is, and this will affect the socio-linguistic conditions of a language contact. That what are the socio-linguistic conditions? I mean, how much you respect the language, how often you will use it, I mean, how much formally you will use it, and what is your overall language attitude, that you take it, you give its respect to it, or you just take it as a normal language, or you think it's a privileged language. And the linguistic development is totally depending on all of these previous three conditions. I mean, linguistic developments would be in that language. That language is respected, that language will be used more often by the speakers, and that has the political history. Okay, these were the conditions. I mean, how the language prevail in a new country, or for the new Englishes. This is for the country whose native language is not English, and the Britishers come and they introduce that language, and what conditions are there that affects the overall situation of that language. And stages, we have five stages here. The first one is foundation. Next one is exonormative stabilization. Third one is nativization, endonormative stabilization, and then we have differentiation. In language, we have five stages that was proposed by Schneider in the model of dynamic. Okay, foundation. How English started in a new territory in a colonized land by British. How it was started, how it was responded by the locals, how language is accepted and how locals respond to it, and how it was founded there. Exonormative. Okay, so overall, you know that dominant country dominates the linguistic norms of the language. Why they dominate? I mean, all the rules, all the grammar, everything, linguistic norms and structures will be provided by the dominant country who has that language as a mother tongue. For example, the Britishers came into India subcontinent, and they will provide the grammar, they will provide the structure, they will tell the locals that how you can use our language formally or informally, or grammatic, how can you be grammatically correct. Okay, this is the second stage. First, the language was initiated. The second one is the norms will be provided by the mother, by the dominant country. Nativization, it involves the emergence of local patterns. Now people started accepting it, and they say, okay, we are going to use it. So there would be taste of their local language from their local languages. I mean, if I speak Urdu, my Urdu will like Punjabi. Why? Because it is localized, because my L1 is Punjabi, or if someone's L1 is Punjabi, he will speak Urdu in the Punjabi way. So this is all about nativization. They will speak English with their local shades, with their local lexical choices. Their local words would be there, like pakoras, roti, or their structures. They will totally resembling with their L1, which would not be English in that situation. Next one is endonormative stabilization. After independence, nowadays independence is there, okay, and English is accepted due to different advantages as a second language. What are the advantages? For good job, for good lifestyle, for impressing others, what different reasons, for international communication, or these are advantages are there as a second language. And norms are provided by the government itself. So government, the young nation itself, now is providing the norms. Now they are not dependent on the Britishers or on the dominant country, because they got freedom now, and they have their own norms, and it is taking a shape of a new dialect. Okay, differentiation. Now it is new. Young nation starts to reflect new dialect and becomes an integral part of English variety, like Indian dialect. Now they have their own dialect. They represent themselves as they represent themselves as the speaker of Indian dialect of English. So it is the last stage. Um, it is the last stage of a language. So this was all today. I hope your answers has been the question raised by me are answered in that. Thank you. Stay tuned and keep watching my videos. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.